Got an update today on our project. Let's see. We tore this engine down on Saturday, May 6th, and the day is Tuesday. So we got in touch with whoever they got this engine from, and they're shipping an engine. So we're good to go on that. So we can continue. We just remove this engine and put the new one in when we get it, whatever day that'll be, and we'll ship the old head back, or excuse me, the replacement head they shipped us, they want it back. They're coming to get it tomorrow. Maybe the engine will come in with it when they do that. In the meantime, they did want some photos of the damage. So I've just got a Fuji film fine pics. This is what I take pictures with here at the shop. It's a decent little camera. I mean, it's nothing special, but I mean, it gets the job done. I like it, and the best thing I like about it, it was free, so it didn't cost anything. With Ford, they've got a senior master program, and back in the day, I think it came out in 1999 program. When you became a senior master through training and going to classes and qualifications and things like that, they rewarded you by sending you on a cruise to Bahamas or Mexico. And when I got my status, they were still doing it, thank goodness, because they stopped doing it since then. And they gave everyone that was on the cruise one of these cameras to document your trip. So it was free. Still had to file 1099 on the trip, but anyway. So let's take a couple pictures. You guys haven't seen the piston yet, and I will say it's pretty anticlimactic. There's not a lot to look at. You really have to be here to get the full effect. So, show you what this thing looks like. So here's the piston. I mean, it should be just flat with carbon on it, and this one, I mean, it's really eat up around the edges, and that's gotten to the cylinder wall a little bit, but it's looks like the surface of the moon there, and that will not survive that harsh environment. So now I'll just take this, and I've got the cable. I'm going to put these on the computer, run it through a program to clean them up a little bit, make them a little nicer to look at, and then I will email them to the person in charge of cutting POs. So it's not always all about working on the cars. Every once in a while you gotta do some paperwork. Especially at a dealership. Lots of paperwork. So I've got a little program on this computer here. It's free, which is my kind of speed. Left my zip drive in the computer. Shows how many people come in here, and then we'll just fire this thing up and let it pull these pictures out of this camera. Don't need to tag them, just let it import and erase after importing. This took 3 photos. So I'll shut that down, turn that off, get this out of here. Done with this. Put that away for a while, and then we'll go and clean these photos up a little bit. You're way off to the side. I don't know how this is going to look for you. So this is it, fast on image viewer. So I'll bring that up. And I basically got 3 photos. I've got the cylinder, the piston, and the cylinder head. We're going to just send them those. And let's go to what we just uploaded. Let's see what we got here. So this is a job I just completed. I snuck it in between all the other jobs. This is another bus, an F-250, and I put valve stem seals in it, another one. So snatched it out, set it right there, did the seals, and put it right back in. Job only pays 13 hours. Lots of fun. Alright, so you can see how blurry that is. And then this one is a little better picture, but there's our scuffing. And so we're going to, we'll definitely use that one. So we'll go over here. Quick size resample, 800 by 600 for better traveling. We'll go to sharpen blur. And 50% looks good. We'll go to the next one. We will save this as RO 114338 LKQ. So it's either that one or that one. I think I'm going to leave it out a little bit so they can see the rest of the. So we'll resize this one to 800, 600, sharpen the blur. And it makes this camera look like $1 million unit compared to what it is. So we'll save this. Should auto load, which it did. And then we're going to call that piston. And then we want that one. So bring that down to 30. Get out of that. Get the old internet. Go to Hotmail. Alright, so we got a engine on the way for this thing. I'm going to go ahead, and since I've got it here on the lift and whatnot, I use that term loosely, lift. I'm at a point where I'm just going to go ahead and take this engine out, set it over out of the way, that way when the replacement engine gets here, be ready to go. Matter of fact, I'm going to put that cylinder head back on after I get the engine out. So we don't have a lot to do to get this out of here. The only real kind of aggravating part about it's going to be the timing chains kind of just flopping around there. So when I go to turn the engine to get to the torque converter nuts, it'll be a little bit of aggravation, but everything up here is pretty much done. I have to undo the AC compressor and lay the wiring harness on. But basically all I need is motor mounts, this coolant line, heater hose line in the back there, torque converter nuts, and bell housing bolts. I will snatch it out. In the meantime, this came in. I've taken the engine out of this. Give you a little tour here. So this one has a backfire to the intake, much like the wildlife video that I made. And the brackets, I need to, there's the universal brackets for the Norco stand, and our brackets to hold this engine to this stand, they're out right now, so they should be here tomorrow. And we're going to tear this down. We'll do this together, kind of like the Duramax video I did. We'll get this thing on a stand. You can see I've already got the valve cover off, and the rocker bridge is missing there. It's just laying down. So the customer will aware that the cam is probably chooched, but they want to know the extent of the damage. So we'll put that on a stand and tear it apart, and we're going to take it right down to the bare block. So we'll do that together. And in the meantime, let's take this engine out. Look at that. Take your advice. Got a nice stand under there. I usually just do all this by hand. I usually don't even use any air tools. If you end up rounding these fasteners off, man, it's just a real hassle. So take the starter completely off. So take off the big power wire. This wire's hot all the time, so we gotta make sure the battery's disconnected. Do a little welding. And let's put the nut back on so I don't have to keep up with it. And take the trigger wire off. This thing's kind of nasty right here. My general rule of thumb, take the hardest fastener out first. You want to be messing with one that's difficult to get to when the component is loose and flopping around and see how tight it is. And there it is. So one down. There's the second one. And now for the last one. We're going to put some air to that one because she's already bonding up. I just barely got it loose. And there we go. A little overkill on these mounts. We got 4 nuts holding this tiny little engine in. 2 of them are way up here and you can't get any air to them. Take those two out by hand. And these two are there. One. There's two. Four. So I'm not going to get under this thing. It's a farm truck. It's rancid, nasty. I'm not going to get you guys under here. I don't want you to get dirty. But I'll try to give you as much view as possible from the wings. So the very next step, as I was saying, is bell housing bolts. And you see that one right there. So we'll pull all these bell housing bolts out on this side until I need an extension. I'm just kind of working in close quarters here. I want to do the torque converter before I get all the bell. I don't want to get all the bells and bolts out and then have to have the engine and transmission flopping while I'm trying to get to the torque converter nuts. Now, at this particular case, when I'm taking this apart, half the bolts I'm dealing with aren't in the right spot, so I'm not even going to bother trying to keep up with them. I'm just going to throw them in a pile, and then I'll sort them out when I get ready to put it back together. That's the thing you run into when you're dealing with a vehicle somebody else has worked on. So you really can't see what's going on. This is a better vantage point than nothing. And right now we are at torque converter nut removage. One. This thing's got 6 torque converter nuts. Extreme overkill. It's ridiculous. So I'm going to take the other 4 off. I've got 2 off. I'll show you on the last one what I'm doing. Let's see if I can get in here without destroying my camera. So that is the access hole right there to get to the torque converter nuts. You could probably get to them pretty easy here too if you were to take this filter off here, but I don't need to, it's not in the way, so I'm not going to worry about it. And I've already taken them all off, but what I'm doing is, this is the torque converter nut, and I'm using this setup here. So what I'll do is I'll put this on the torque converter nut in that hole, get it square on there, and I'll come up in here with my ratchet and just lay it on there and let it start and pull the ratchet into the extension. And then when I'm done, so we'll look something like that. Then when I'm done, to keep from dropping that into the hole there, as I get to the last thread, I'll twist this upwards so gravity can't take over, and then I'll remove it. And then last but not least, you want to make sure that the torque converter slides back and forth and makes a ka-tunk noise. The rest of this is dirty and filthy, and it's dangerous under here. I don't want you guys to get hurt. I'll take the hit on this one. So all I got left is the bell housing bolts, and I got to be completely under there with a really long extension. And this side motor mounts. One interesting thing about this side, if you look in here, we've got 3, and they're almost press fit. And on this side we've got our 4. Alright, and those 2 studs are removable. Alright, pulling it out, you can get it out of here, but if you try to put this engine back in with all 4 of those studs in place and those 3 in place, it won't go, because you end up with let's see, where's my tripod? I got my tripod out of the way. You end up with this kind of thing here. Let me sit you down. Oh dear Lord. Got nothing to sit you on. Yeah, there we go. So, your motor mounts are out like this, okay? When you go to pull them out of that frame, they kind of deflect and come out. When you go to put them back in, they won't line up. They just sit on there. So you have to take those 2 bolts I was showing you out, so it'll sit down in there. Well, they don't want to come out. So we'll deal with that when we get ready to go back together. Alright, let's bring this thing down and we all breathe a sigh of relief. So what do we got left here? I didn't take the 2 top bells and bolts out. I could just get to them from right here. So we'll take those out from up top here. We've got the air conditioning compressor. That is it. One of this radiator hose business here. And then we'll snatch it out. So this cherry picker is really heavy duty. And before I get everything set up, I just want to make sure that that will roll under the front axle. So now I'm going to put the little floor jack there under the transmission, and once I get that set under the transmission, I'll put some forward pressure on it and kind of dump the motor forward. Like that. Then we'll hook chain to it and snatch it out. Now it's tough to see, but we're dragging on those motor mounts I was telling you about because I didn't take those two studs out of that one mount. Coming out is no big deal. You can just pry it out of there and fold them. Going back in, you cannot do that. Alright, engine number 2 out for the day. We got one more engine and a cab off to do. But not today. So let's put that over in the floor over there. Actually, I'm going to leave that thing on the hoist and deal with it tomorrow.